1,500 boxes and 5,000 cards. That's how much we sold at CardsHQ in our first 5 days of operation. To say that that surpassed all of our expectations, it would be an understatement. But it was an incredible rush to the finish line to get there and have the honor of being able to serve that many customers in such a short period of time. Today, I'm back with Carter and Ryan, my partners in CardsHQ, and we're going to break down what our first days of operation have been like, what's gone well so far, what surprised us, and what we need to get better at. There's a lot to dive into, including our sales numbers. Let's get started. Carter and Ryan, welcome back to the show. How are you feeling now? My voice is still a little bit raspy. It's getting a little bit back at this point, but you guys have been even without more sleep than I have been.
Yeah, it's been many nights with very little sleep. So I'm trying to keep my eyes open a little bit, but it's exciting to be here every day, and that's what keeps me awake.
When's the last day you had a day off?
Man. Before New Year's, right? Before New
Year's.
It
was December?
Yeah, it was December.
December?
It was definitely December.
Yeah, that's the rush. But guys, it has paid off in such a big way. So we're 5 days into the store. We had a preview night during Culture Collision. We hosted the Culture Collision trade night, and that was the first night that we actually started selling things, started selling some cards and selling some boxes, sold a lot that night. And then we opened up this past Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we've had 5 total days now. We're filming this on Monday. Obviously, it's going to come out a day or two after we film it, but we've had 5 total days now, and it has been really, really busy. I know we were optimistic that, we were going to get off to a good start, but we didn't quite know what to expect. We intentionally didn't plan any big events the first few days. Like, we didn't do a big grand opening event on the first day or a trade night or anything like that, because we were like, we need to get our feet underneath us a little bit. But we still had a pretty good crowd that opening Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday were bananas. You were here all weekend, Ryan. What was that experience like for you?
It was absolutely amazing. My favorite thing about the whole weekend was how many new collectors we got. We were expecting the fans of this channel, fans of Sports Card Investor, fans of you, fans of what CardsHQ is doing. But the amount of people that came in and bought their first ever card, their first ever pack, their first ever box, that was absolutely amazing. And the amount of people that said, hey, I just drove by, I saw a sign, sports cards, Pokemon. What's that all about? They come in and they see this place and they're like, holy cow, this is not what I remembered a card shop being.
Yeah, I was very enthused. I told both of you guys this. I was very enthused that we had so many people buying TCG, buying Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
That was good news. That was a good sign for me. Yeah, a lot of kids. Because I knew that we would get people in for sports cards. I knew that there were people that obviously watched the shows and they were curious and wanted to come and wanted to see it and that kind of thing. But I was wondering how many people are going to pick up just from the greater community who maybe aren't aware of Sports Card Investor or anything we're doing here, but that are Pokemon enthusiasts or trading card game enthusiasts. We've had a lot of Magic collectors coming in, and they want a place to go shop as well. And, so we really put a lot of intention into building a big assortment of those products. And I think that that's paid off really well. So that to me has been maybe what surprised me the most from the first few days was the amount of attention and just, the amount of transactions we've done around TCG.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it's been really exciting to see the front of the store. The amount of people that didn't even hear of us, they just said, hey, I saw your sign driving by the other day or driving today. And they just come right in and they just initially just look at all the showcase and they're like, holy cow, like what is this place? It's like, I mean, it's Disneyland for cards. It's unreal. So.
Yeah. We do have really good signage. That's one of the things we liked about this spot. We're on 2 major roads in Atlanta and we're right off the interstate. We're right off I-75, like literally like, you could maybe throw a football and hit I-75. And then we're on 2 major roads, US 41, which is Cobb Parkway, and Cumberland right here. So people see the signage. There's signs on 2 sides of the building. So it's got a lot of good signage, and it's in a really good complex where there's a main event, which is a giant video game place. It's like a Dave & Buster's. And then there's a busy AMC movie theater right next to us. And we knew that we would pull some people over as well. And that happened. On Saturday and Sunday, we saw kids who were on their way to the main event to play video games. And then they saw Pokemon and then they popped in. And that's what we were hoping for. So hopefully we're going to get a lot of that flow. The sales totals through 5 days, 1,520 boxes sold. That I think that's a number I'm really happy with. They're obviously pretty high average transaction volume or average transaction price on boxes, right? I mean, and some of those boxes were definitive and national treasures. And so really the average on that stuff can get really high when you're selling boxes. So that's big revenue. And then 1,750 slabs out of our showcases, and then thousands of singles from our value boxes. So in total, we're well over 5,000 cards, obviously over 1,500 boxes, 5 days in. Really, really good numbers. Now, this is not, I'm sharing the numbers not because I want to do a victory lap or pat ourselves on the back, because that's actually, I'm going to tell a story in a minute. That's the complete wrong thing to do. And I had a bad experience with that in the past from another business. And I'm going to share this in a second. A really important lesson for people to hear. But I want to share the numbers because I feel like I just out of transparency, and I feel like it is a mission accomplished for what we were hoping that the first week would be. And this is before we've started to do any live selling. And live selling is going to layer in this Sunday. In fact, this Sunday, we're going to go live, doing live selling out of the store for the first time on Super Bowl Sunday on Whatnot from noon to 6 p.m. Eastern time leading up to the Super Bowl. We're going to do a special live show on Whatnot that day where we're going to be live selling a bunch of singles from our shop for starting dollar auctions all day long. So live selling is going to layer in. Breaking, we haven't started that yet. That will layer in the next couple of weeks. So we're hoping that actually all of that becomes the bigger portion of the revenue. That's what the business plan is, for the live selling and breaking to be the bigger portion of the revenue. So to start with in-store retail sales of the numbers that I just shared, I'm really happy with that. Carter, what were your thoughts on the numbers?
Well, for the 1,750 slabs and raw cards in our showcase, that's just a testament to what we wanted to execute with the design of our showcases. I think that gave the opportunity for people to see all our cards in a way easier fashion. I mean, and the type of cards that people were pulling out, I mean, kind of oddball names and, big names obviously as well, but people were finding cards that they love. It was easier for them to find cards that they love. I felt like our staff, I was a little worried that our staff was going to have to serve the customer a lot because we had so many cards, but they really, just had to help them get them out of the showcase because the customers were finding them on themselves because it was that easy to find, even with the quantity of showcases and the quantity of cards we had. And obviously the wax boxes, I think the Break Arena played a big role in that.
It did.
People wanted to rip in the Break Arena, especially Saturday and Sunday, all day long. It was really exciting. I mean, they were, some people didn't want to rip in the Break Arena, and that's cool, but we had tons of couch space and table space. So there were people ripping all around the store each day that we were open. I think just the areas that we have for people to enjoy themselves with their friends or their families to rip boxes is really helped. And I think that's a testament to those numbers as well.
Let's touch on that real quick, because I think this is a really good tip for other card shop owners around the country. If you want to sell more boxes, designate a place in your store where people can open those boxes and it can be an experience. And that's obviously what we've done here to a very high degree. We've created this whole arena setting where people can sit down and it's streaming live on YouTube and there's bleachers for people to watch and they feel like a breaker and they're opening the box. Well, this provides a great experience to the people coming in the store. And guess what? It helps us sell more boxes. As soon as somebody sees, as soon as one person sees somebody else ripping there, they go, oh, that's cool. I want to try that. Well, help yourself to any box in the store. Buy a box, get in line, go sit down and rip it. Guess what? We sold over 1,500 boxes in 5 days. A large part of why we sold 1,500 boxes in 5 days is because a lot of those boxes got ripped at our breaker arena, people wanting to sit down and rip. So I think that that's something that hopefully other card shop owners can think about. And I know there are other card shops that have like, breaker bars and stuff where they can sit at a bar and rip wax. I think having that experience in shop is really cool, and it helps drive sales. Your thoughts, Ryan?
Well, yeah, and with us streaming it live on YouTube, I've had some families come in and they're like, "Yeah, I shared it to my Facebook page, and my friends are coming tomorrow. They were asking where to do this."
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And then us having our boxes priced really fairly, you don't have to worry about like getting screwed. You know, people are asking me, "Am I getting screwed buying this?" Like, I don't know. I'm not really in the hobby. Well, I could show them online what other retailers are selling it for, and we're at it or below it.
Yeah.
So they feel real comfortable going to the break arena, ripping it, showing their friends on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. That's our goal.
Yeah.
Is to everyone see what people are doing here.
That's a big part of the narrative we're trying to change a bit as well. There are card shops that price stuff really high. They're often open to negotiation. And, you know, I've obviously we've talked about this before. I made comments recently about how we're trying to price differently. We're trying to price our stuff really fair so that people can come in and get a fair deal and not feel like, oh, I got to negotiate, you know, on everything. And I was surprised that those comments were considered by many to be controversial because that's not how it's often done out there. But I think it's how it should be done. And in 5 days so far, and it's obviously early and we'll see where this all goes, but I think the early results are people are appreciating it. They're appreciating coming in and they're appreciating looking at all of our box prices and going, hey, that's fair. I can go look at what some of the big online retailers are selling these boxes for, and these boxes are priced at those same prices or cheaper than those prices. And, or I can go look at what they've sold for recently on eBay, and these boxes are right around there or cheaper. And so I think that, you know, having the fair prices and then having the experience has added into, you know, has allowed us to sell over 1,500 boxes in 5 days. So without any type of online sales, 0 online sales so far.
And we get a lot of people asking for online sales,
Yeah.
so just get ready for that.
And online sales are going to come soon.
Yeah.
We're going to not only do the live selling and the breaking, but then we're also going to have our website set up soon where people can shop our inventory, our boxes, our cards online. I know we're a little bit worried that when we put all of that live, if we're going to start to run into an inventory problem. So right now, so we've sold, so you know, slabs alone, cards in the showcases alone, we've sold 1,750 in 5 days. Now, our total showcase capacity right now with how we have the cards arranged in showcases is around 6,000 cards. So basically, we've sold about a third of our showcase inventory in 5 days. As Ryan, as our lead buyer, and knowing that we need to keep our showcases filled at all times, does that pace concern you, or do you think that pace is a manageable pace?
I think it does concern me for when we do go live online. And I would like to mention we are hiring a buyer while we're here. But we do have back stock of slabs that we're ready to put out. We have thousands of slabs that are ready to be priced and going, and we're buying here. We're buying every day. Every customer that comes in that has cards for sale, we're trying to buy a card off of everyone. So the pace has been good for buying in the store so far.
Yeah. And the online thing is what could shift things a bit for sure. So we'll see. But yeah, we got to keep buying. As you said, we got to keep buying. Maybe somebody out there wants to be our buyer, and you know, I think we're going to have to do that both in store as well as probably continuing to go around to card shows.
Absolutely.
And continue to buy so that we can try to keep our inventory to where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the great part about us buying in stores is the trade-in credit. That's what a lot of people have been coming in and getting.
Yeah.
Right. And so the only issue with the inventory side of things, it's our process. If you've seen the pictures online or anything like that, all our cards are barcoded. Everything's inventoried. We're not just buying it and putting it on the shelf. There's a process for us to log it, price it, barcode it, then it can go out. It's not like a super long process, but it does add steps. And so that time for us to put out cards, it could take a day or two to get them out after we purchase them.
Yeah. So there's work involved. There's time involved. We got to buy the cards to begin with. So there's a lot to it, but hopefully we can get in a rhythm here and keep up with that. The store credit thing's really interesting. So this is something that some card shops do. Burbank out of California is big on this. People come in to sell the cards, and you can either to offer pay them cash or you can give them store credit. And sometimes we can afford to do even a little more with store credit, which obviously in our best interest for the people to be able to shop in the store and buy some more cards. And a lot of time our customers like that as well, because their whole purpose of coming in the store is they want to kind of do a trade, right? They don't necessarily just want to walk out with cash. They're interested in getting into some other cards, so they want to do a trade. And so our form of doing a trade is give us your cards, we'll give you a store credit, and then you can use that store credit either during this visit or you can use that store credit during any future visit. You can, that will remain on file associated with you. And so I think that's a great thing. Now, the challenge, though, is that means that person, while they're selling you cards, they're then going to go take other cards out of the showcase. So you didn't really get ahead in terms of inventory, right?
Yeah.
We didn't get ahead in terms of inventory. That doesn't solve our inventory problem if every person we're getting cards from, we're just giving store credit to.
Yeah, I mean, and some people are buying packs too,
Right.
So then we can't get ahead, but then we're getting behind on boxes and packs. So it's going to be a constant circle all the time with inventory. Obviously, it's going to be a challenge in any type of atmosphere where you have a card shop aspect and an online and live selling aspect.
Yeah.
Well, and we're paying really strong too, so more and more people are going to start bringing in their cards. I mean, we're giving 80% store credit, 70% cash right now. A lot of people that have come in, they're like, I haven't heard of this at a card shop.
Yeah.
At maybe a card show, but not at a card shop.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get more traction of people coming in once the word gets out.
I mean, those are strong prices to give, to pay 80% of the value of somebody's card. That's not something that a card shop normally does. So I think that, and hopefully if we can continue to maintain a high volume, we can continue to pay strong like that. So hopefully that will be the case. And I think that, speaking of Burbank again, Rob from Burbank always talks about the importance of liquidity and the importance of being able to cash people out of cards that they don't want and get them into new cards or new boxes or that type of thing that they do want, or just give them cash if they just need to cash out, and use the cash for other things. And I think, his theory has always been that if there's enough liquidity, then it will really help build up the entire collector base, because if people know, if I'm going to buy these cards, if I ever want to move out of these cards, I can get 70 to 80% of the value of them back. Then that makes people a lot more confident about, buying cards and being in them versus, oh, I don't know if I'll ever get anything back, or maybe I'll get 50% or something like that. So it's an important part of the model, not just for our own success, but for the success of the community and the growth of the community, I believe. All right. I want to talk real quick. We talked about the sales numbers, but I do want to give a word of caution to the audience and to you guys. And I've shared this with you guys already. I'm going to share it with the audience today. I've done a lot of digital businesses in the past. I've only ever done one retail business before, this one. And that retail business was a Ben & Jerry's ice cream store. I ended up opening 3 Ben & Jerry's ice cream stores in Gainesville, Florida. One, a real iconic one right across from University of Florida campus. It was there for almost 10 years. And 2 others in Gainesville, Florida as well, when I used to live down there. And when we opened up the one across from campus, there was a lot of excitement and anticipation from the student body, because there was not actually an ice cream store right around campus. It was the closest ice cream store was about a 2-mile drive from campus. So if you lived in the dorms and you wanted to take a girl out to go get an ice cream on a date, you literally had nowhere to go if you didn't own a car. If you owned a car, you could get in your car and drive 2 miles. But if you lived in the dorms and you didn't have a car and you just wanted to walk across the street from campus, there was nothing, no ice cream, restaurants and bars and everything, but no ice cream. So this ice cream store was actually very kind of anticipated. And we did a good job of marketing the buildup of it. We had, coming soon signs and, a countdown on our front door as to how many days until we were going to be open. So people were excited. And the first month, we did great. Like we sold tons of ice cream. Our sales that month, it was the summer of 2003. And our sales that month were 20 years ago. Exactly. That's crazy to think about. Our sales that month we were the number one ice cream. We were the number one Ben & Jerry's store in the entire nation. And at that point, there were close to 400 to 500 Ben & Jerry's stores that were open in the nation. We were number one in terms of total sales revenue out of all the stores the month that we opened. And my partner and I, who were unfortunately, I was much younger. I mean, I was in my mid 20s. And he was younger than I was. He was just right out of college in his early 20s. And him and I thought that we were millionaires. I mean, we were like, oh my God, we're the number one Ben & Jerry's store in the country. Our sales were incredible. We had a line out the door every single night. And we were ready to do victory laps. I mean, we just thought we were like, it was the greatest thing. And we were the greatest entrepreneurs of all time. And we were ready to just do our victory laps and the whole thing. And what I will tell you is that first month was the best revenue month that we ever had. And then the 10-year history of our shop. We never did it again. The first month was the biggest month. And the second month was the second biggest month. And it trailed off from there. And we never, we had other big months, but we never recaptured that momentum that we had the very first month. And so, when I'm saying things today, like we sold 1,520 boxes and 1,750 slabs in 5 days, that's no guarantee that, we're going to sell 1,520 boxes in any other 5-day stretch in the history of our store. It may not happen. I certainly hope it will. And there's a lot of things we're going to do to make sure it happens, but it may not happen. And so we need to be, I don't want anyone to see the numbers and think like, oh, this is, a surefire ticket to success, because it's not. The hard work is once you get beyond, and I think our first 30, 60, 90 days, I think we're going to have a really good stretch here. I think this whole year is probably going to be pretty good for us, with people traveling in, wanting to see the store, coming in for Braves games, traveling from other parts of the country, coming to the store, all that kind of thing. But I think that, we can't base our business plan on what we did these first 5 days. We got to base our business plan on how the store's doing 6 months from now, because that's going to be more of a true test. The counter to that, though, is that unlike my Ben & Jerry's store, with Ben & Jerry's, that was a one-trick pony. It was, you come in the store, you get ice cream. That's all there. That was the only sales channel in store. With us, we have planned this entire thing so that there will be multiple sales channels. There will be not just the in-store, there will be the website. There will be live single selling on Whatnot. There will be breaking on Fanatics Live and Whatnot. There will be potentially TikTok shopping, and there will be potentially eBay Live, and we may be selling singles on eBay. Maybe we'll do it on ComC. Maybe we'll do it, on other marketplaces as well. Maybe we'll set up a consignment program with PWCC or Golden, or who knows. Like there are many pathways that we can go to generate revenue. And so while our first 5 days may turn out to be 5 of the best days in terms of retail sales that this store sees, I believe that it won't be our best 5 days in terms of revenue, because I believe we've got all of these other channels. And once we start layering and breaking and layering in live selling and layering in the website and layering in eBay, I think we're going to see, sales go from all of those channels. We need to see that. Like, that's definitely the goal. And then there's also the aspect of, even from a retail standpoint, while we have a big rush of people coming in because of all the publicity the store's gotten on Sports Card Investor and from other content creators touring through, you got the TCG side, which is going to build more over time. That's a whole audience that is now just starting to discover the store for the first time. So hopefully, even if there is a little bit of drop off in terms of, box sales and slab sales in store on the sports side over the next 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, hopefully that actually gets counteracted a bit with the volume of TCG boxes selling, slab selling, and everything increasing as more people find out about the store, and then you get a more regular customer base on that side. Those are things I'm hoping for. Carter, what's your reaction to all that?
Well, I think in total, we've not done a lot of direct local marketing either. Right. All our marketing has just been through your channels, yep, right? And our social media channels. We've not done anything locally. The people that have come in our shop that don't know of Sports Card Investor, don't know of CardsHQ, they've just seen our signs. That's the only marketing we've done. So, I think there's a lot to come for the retail store, especially in the TCG side of things, doing tournaments, across Pokemon, Lorcana, Magic. I think we're gonna get a lot of people in the store here coming forward. And obviously we want to do events, right? I mean, this past weekend was really more of a soft opening, right? We were just promoting as our opening day. We got some big events coming here later in the month. And then going forward, we're going to have some consistent events starting in March that we're going to do. I'm really excited for the store aspect, but I think the online is going to be so exciting. And I think how you can tie that into the store. I mean, these 6 breaker cabanas that we have being open to the store are going to be so exciting. I think it's going to draw people in to want to watch just in person. I think it's going to be a big part of what we want to accomplish in, doing the experience online and in person. So I'm excited in all aspects of those.
I agree. And you mentioned events.
Mm-hmm.
That is key. So another thing I would say that maybe has surprised me as I look back on, our first few days of operation, when we did the trade night, obviously that was a special night because Culture Collision was here. I wasn't necessarily expecting us to sell a lot during the trade night because it was a trade night. So I figured I knew we would get a lot of people in the store, and we did. It was at capacity the entire night long, 40-minute wait to get in the store. I knew that was going to happen, but I didn't actually know that our cash register was going to ring that much because I thought people were coming to trade. I don't know. They spent money at the show that day. I don't know that they're going to buy stuff, but that was one of our busiest periods of the store. And then we had a little party here the other night on Saturday night. And during that, there were a lot of people buying things. So there definitely seems to be a bit of a pattern. And I'm curious to see how that continues. I think the event thing could end up being a really big part of the business plan. We've got Super Bowl Sunday coming up this Sunday, and we're going to try to turn that into an event. We're going to do a trade night during the Super Bowl, and we're going to do a discount on some of our product during the Super Bowl as well, specifically the Bowman U products. And free food and that kind of thing. And I know we got a big Tops Rip Night event that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. That could be a really big day for us. And so I don't know, Ryan, as you kind of forecast out, do you see this kind of the event idea as being potentially a big catalyst for sales for us?
I mean, absolutely. A lot of people coming into the store already are asking, when's the next trade night?
Yeah.
I want to come do a trade night again. I think the events are great because it brings in all the collectors and it gets that community aspect going in the store. So not only are they transacting with fellow other collectors and learning about what other people like around here, they also can buy cards from our showcases to fill a gap in a trade. Not to mention, it's fun to rip boxes in front of a ton of people.
Yeah.
The breaker arena gets popping on trade night.
Yeah.
That's where it's exciting and everyone's in the bleachers and everyone's watching and starts to become like a atmosphere where it's just absolutely electric over there.
We got to figure out, and this is a conversation we haven't had yet. So we got to figure out what the routine for doing that kind of thing is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a balancing act, right? Like I want to do trade nights like routinely enough where we can be telling collectors, oh, the next one's coming soon, come back out and build a routine. But at the same time, if you do them too often, then they risk not having that like huge pop moment that, we experienced, right? So we got to figure out that's going to be a tough balancing act. Like, how often do you do it? And how do you keep it as a big event, as an exciting day that people come to and the store's packed and, do it often enough, but not do it too often. So that's going to be a balancing act. We'll have to figure that out. I was out in California a couple of years ago. I lived in LA for 5 weeks that summer and did the whole card scene. And there's a card shop in California called Average Joe's, which hosts a weekly trade night every Wednesday. And it was pretty good, but it wasn't crazy. And I thought to myself, like, I wonder if it was less than weekly, how much busier it would be. If they did it monthly, would it be 4 times as busy if it was only monthly, or would it be twice as busy? But then maybe it does make sense for them to do it weekly because it's not as busy, but then overall the net number of people they get in the store is greater. I don't know. It's like that's kind of a tough thing to play with, and what is that pattern? So we'll have to figure that out as we go. But I think the idea of events in general is going to hopefully be big for us. So Carter, we're 5 days in. What has surprised you, like, either in a positive way or a negative way about, kind of the first 5 days, and maybe kind of operationally, like how has it been operationally in here?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that surprised me, I thought we were going to have more time to like organize things and clean things, like clean our showcases and make sure things tidied up. And we just haven't. Our staff's been so busy, just helping customers. And so I don't feel like we are understaffed in any way, but it's like I want to like organize some things. We just haven't had a lot of time to actually move in. I mean, we moved in as much as we could for that trade night during Culture Collision, right? And we were strategically pulling back some things. Like we didn't really go all out on supplies. We didn't go all out on cards really also, and wax. We were still a little short there. So between trade night and opening, we didn't have our staff for many of those days because we needed to give them the days off. They were in grind mode for us just to get us ready for that Saturday night. So there's a lot of things that we're still doing here to organize. And I was hoping to have more time to do it, and hopefully we get some time this week to do it. But I'm looking out in the shop right now. I see about at least 15 customers roaming the store right now. So we're, it's a Monday morning. A lot of card shops aren't open on Mondays, right? So obviously, we're doing pretty well. So I think just being able to get stuff organized, having a place for everything. Obviously, we're getting our shipping team ready at the same time because we're going to start shipping here real soon, and we're expecting a lot of volume there. There's just a lot of little things operationally that surprised me that we haven't been able to get done yet, and we've been in here now for over a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, it's even we don't even have our hours posted on the front door, and that has been on my to-do list because I've been working with one of our graphics designers. There's a whole list of signs we need for the store, and it just got so busy the week or two leading up to the store, and everything was just a rush to the finish line that like even basic things like that is like, oh, we don't even, we're 5 days in and we don't even have our hours on the front door. Like, and we will obviously get those up this week. But yeah, you're right. It has been little things like that. But I will say, I think we have done a good job. I think you guys have done a good job of prioritizing what's most important. Mm-hmm. And what is most important was getting all the inventory out there for the customers to see, getting things priced, having our point of sales up and running, having our staff trained and positioned to be able to help customers, like the absolute elemental stuff that must be there in order for customers to come in and have a good experience. That is in place, and that we got in place. I'm actually very proud of the fact that a lot of those basics have worked really well without a major hitch in the first 5 days. Because I was worried about things like point of sale system completely crashes, it's offline, it's not working, it's nothing scanning, it's that none of that works, or we have some calamity where all the cards are dropped, or whatever happens, the stat, like we have some people not show up for shifts, some of the staff not show up for shifts, and all of a sudden there's only two employees in the store trying to help out a busy store. Those are the kind of things that I've been worried could happen that would be very detrimental to the customer experience. But thankfully, we haven't had those things happen. Like the key elements of the customer experience have been in place and have gone well. And it's more of the window dressing to make, to make it really, crisp. Those are the little window dressing pieces is what we still have to work on, and what we're going to work on this week for sure. How about you, Ryan? Any surprises from your end?
Not necessarily surprises, but going on the employee side of things, luckily we had over 200 applicants, so we were able to narrow it down to this rockstar team of 15 people. All of these people have been really helpful to all the customers that are in here, helping them be able to find cards. We have the showcases organized by sport, so the team members have been able to bring the customers to where they're looking for. You're not even going to believe this, Geoff, but we only gave them about an hour of training.
Yeah.
So we were like getting there to the opening, and we were about to let people in for trade night, and I'm like, holy cow, we haven't
trained people yet.
I think we really taught them the POS system 10 minutes before we opened our doors. Literally 10 minutes.
And they all crushed it. It was a major success. And I mean, we got smart, brilliant people working for us. And
yeah, we hired good card people. And I mean, that helps, right? I mean, if we hired people who know cards, who some of them have, done dealing on the side personally, that kind of thing. So they're pretty knowledgeable. And it was hard to find. We had to do you guys had to do a lot of interviews and go through a lot of applicants, but we got a lot of people that know cards pretty well, that have a passion for it. Thankfully, the way that the point of sale is set up, we're using Shopify. And that's a pretty easy to use point of sale system, but it only works well if you take the time to put every single card individually into inventory and barcode them all so that it's quick, easy scanning and checkout. So the fact that that was smooth for employees with 10 minutes of training and that they were able to check people out and we had no major problems. I know a few of the terminals the first night died, the batteries died and stuff, but we were able to still continue to check people out, pretty seamlessly. And the fact that people were able to do that with very little training really comes down more to the preparation. It was all the work that was done the 30 days prior to us opening, where, both of you guys and several of our employees spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours entering every single card into our point of sale system and barcoding every single card, printing every single card out. I mean, how much time, Ryan, do you think total was committed to that task?
I mean, geez, months straight working 12 hours a day doing it. I mean, typing in the barcodes for all the wax products, I still have a headache from that. It was manually entering every single barcode and every single product in the store. Oh my gosh. And well, then once it's in, we had to scan it all, make sure it's scanned, because that's the key, right? That's why we're doing it. So if it didn't scan at the register, I had to go back. Oh, wow, I'm missing a 1 right here. We were doing that the night before trade night, scanning everything. And it's like, wow, we had 3 products in this showcase, 3 products in this showcase, and then going back and adjusting that. That was a ton of work, and we had 3 guys doing it. So luckily that helped out, but countless hours on it for sure.
Most shops don't do that.
No.
Most shops don't do that. And if you're a smaller shop and if the owner is in there a lot, or maybe you have one key manager who just, knows the shop really well, you can get away without doing that, because it's small staff and they kind of know the stuff and they know the prices and they can manually code things in, and everyone trusts each other, and it works okay. But at the scale of what we're trying to do, we felt like we really needed to have everything barcoded, everything in the system, everything trackable. And it's important not just for inventory control, which that's an important element of it, but it's also important so we can really understand our profit margins and our sales and where our sales are coming from and all that type of thing. So, but it's a lot. As we've seen, it's a lot of work to get to that point, and you guys put in a ton of work, to get us there, which is really cool. So thank you for that. And I think that, the fact that the first 5 days went as smoothly as they really probably could have is because a lot of that pre-work went into place.
Yeah. I'm really proud of our timing on everything. We only started pricing and barcoding cards here in January.
Yeah.
Because we really wanted prices to be accurate. We could have started pricing in November, December, maybe even October when we really started buying. Prices would have been a lot different. So we're really proud of our timing, what we executed here in the last month.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. We had a lot of content creators come through over opening weekend and the trade night. That was really, really cool. It was awesome to see our fellow creators in the hobby come out, do videos, do tours. There's a ton of great videos on YouTube. Guys like, Mojo Sports, Jay from Mojo, Stephanie from Mama Breaks, Daniel, the great curator, Flippin' Steve did a tour. We had What's Inside. That one hasn't come out yet, but that's really, really cool. Dan from What's Inside, they're a big YouTube channel. He did a tour. That one's going to be a lot of fun when that comes out. There were many others as well. A lot of folks came through and did videos, and I'm very thankful for them, to have as many, come out and do that as possible. It's been cool seeing how other people have captured it, and kind of captured it through their eyes and what they liked and what they didn't like. Sports Car Dad, Dustin was here. Just so many. And that's been really cool to see. There's also been a lot of people out there as well. There's been the opposite. There's been people who have been, kind of trying to poke holes in the store and poke holes in the business concept and do some negative content around the whole thing, which I was expecting. And that's okay. Like that, people have their own slant on it. I will tell you, I don't understand why there is a swath of people out there who want this store to not be successful. I don't actually understand that. I understand that there are people that don't like me, and that's fine. Like, people don't have to like me. There's going to be people that don't like me, whatever reason. I have no issue with that. But even the people who don't like me, why do you want this store to fail? that won't be good for the hobby.
Mhm.
It's important that this store succeeds. We're trying to like raise what a hobby shop can be like. Even if you don't like me, this store is important to the future of the hobby. Look, there are many, many times when I don't like the president of the country. Sometimes I hate the president of the country, but I don't want the country to fail. I don't want the economy to go bad just because I don't like the president. Why would I want that? Why would I want the economy to go bad when that's going to personally affect me and my fellow citizens just because I don't like the president? Why would you want CardsHQ not to do well just because you don't like me? Because CardsHQ not doing well, it's not going to be good for the hobby. CardsHQ doing well will hopefully help show everybody that it is possible to have a 14,000 square foot card shop, that it is possible to have a shop that provides all of this dedicated area for trading and for TCG game playing and for breaking and for, just in creating really what I think is a pretty awesome experience. I hope that this store is successful so that it inspires others. I hope this store is successful to inspire others to take some of our ideas and concepts and build on them in their own way and do it even better. Whether it's our showcase designs, whether it's our breaker arena, whether it's our open live selling and breaking cabanas, whether it's our dedicated areas for trading and TCG gameplay, whether it's our giant value bin island, whatever it is that might inspire another card shop owner, I hope they take these ideas and I hope they do it and they run with it in their own way, maybe building upon it and improving upon it. That's going to be good for the hobby overall. That's what is going to be really good for the hobby. And so I think a lot of people see it that way. Not everybody sees it that way, but I think a lot of people see it that way. And at the end of the day, I hope the legacy of CardsHQ is not just that we've built a really successful card shop in Atlanta and, its sales are good and all that kind of stuff. I hope the legacy is that this ends up making a marked impact on the hobby overall, on the community overall. It really helps building it, makes the average card shop better, strive for more, makes card shops a center of the community in whatever city they serve, and creates that customer experience to bring that community together. That's what I hope the legacy of the shop ends up being. So, whether our first 5 days, I think it's a step in that direction. I think it is a step in that direction. I think the sales prove it so far, but it is just the first step of what is going to be a really, really long journey. And I'm excited. Are you guys as excited today as you were, a month or 2 or 6 or a year ago, or are you just plain exhausted at this point?
I'm even more excited.
Good.
So, no question about it.
Good.
Yeah, when I leave here, I can't wait to come back. It's an awesome place to be.
Awesome. Well, I actually see the store is getting pretty crowded now for a Monday after, or late morning when we're filming this right now. So we're going to wrap. I'm going to let you guys get back out there to the show floor because I think there's customers to be served. But I appreciate you guys joining, and congrats on our first 5 days.
Yeah. Likewise.
Awesome, guys. All right. Well, thank you for watching the episode as well. Just a reminder, you can get the full length of all the Geoff Wilson shows on YouTube under the Geoff Wilson Show on YouTube. It's its own channel. And then also on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Make sure to subscribe everywhere so you can get all of our latest episodes. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon with the next one. Take care.